Hello, hello, hello. Look at what we got here. It is Rad Racer. If you wouldn't believe. This is a very little simple game, honestly. Look at this. We get course 1. Look at that. You're just directly into the game. As you might suspect, this is, of course, a game about driving a car and more than likely going fast. And the sound effects right off the bat are just, outstanding. Just astonishingly excellent sound effects. So, right away, I haven't actually played Rad Racer, and I'm kind of impressed by these faux hill effects. Kind of impressed by me, flying off the course like that. No, that is not impressive. But these turns and these kind of, fakey hills are surprisingly good. It's a game that actually lends itself fairly well to me using the analog stick rather than the D-pad, even though, oh goodness, even though, as always, there's no actual, of course, analog support because it is an NES game. Yeah, we really just jumped directly into this episode, didn't we? Whew, me oh my. And we did poorly right off the bat. Alright, come on, Sunset Coastline. So, I'm guessing that we gotta slow down a little bit for those corners there, because I definitely saw my tires squealing when I was trying to make that turn, and that didn't help me out any. So right away, what interesting tidbits are there about this game? Well, if you want to play a racing game and all you have is an NES in the year 1987, this is probably going to be pretty much your only option for racing, so there is that. And even then, I almost hesitate to call it so much a racing game as it is a, fast-paced driving game. I mean, there's not really, positions or anything here. You're not necessarily attempting... Oh gosh, there's a turbo that I should be using. We did make it through a checkpoint there. But yeah, you're not trying to, make first place by beating a bunch of other cars who are giving you a run for your money by also driving fast. It's not a lap-based racing game. This is no Grand Prix, we'll put it that way. It's more like Rad Go Quicker. Rad Driver. We're figuring it out, though. Oh, okay. I don't know what the music is all about, but I'm dead. I genuinely wish I knew what that music was trying to tell me. I think it's just music finally kicking in. Like, it took ages for the music to actually start, which I certainly don't know why. Just call it a quirk. Alright, so that one... Oh! Okay, I thought that wipeout damned us, but it looks like we just coasted through another checkpoint section, and we were able to get more, time. Those are actually remarkably nicely done clouds in the sky there. I know, that seems like a very, non-content piece of something to, get all excited about, but I do like when I see a little bit of pixel art that just, goes a little bit above and beyond. Crash into our death. You may suspect that is not conducive to a victory. Again, I'm getting a little overzealous with the turns I'm making here. By that I mean I'm just kind of holding up to go real fast. How far did we get there, though? Definitely further than last time, that's for sure. Yeah, we got those 90-degree angle turns there. Pretty much every turn is like a hairpin or a 90-degree angle. Alright. Come on, Sunset Coastline. And again, starts out with no music, so who knows when that'll kick in. Abuse that turbo while you can. Okay. I saw the signs telling me, you gotta turn, bro. Okay, music has already kicked in. I guess we're on fire enough. I don't know if there's a trigger that causes that, or if it's just an arbitrary issue. Oh yeah, I told you I was gonna say who actually developed this game, because Nintendo did publish it, but they did not develop it. This game was developed by Square. That's right. Final Fantasy Square. Obviously, predating Final Fantasy. Please. Yeah! There we go. I was gonna say, we can get there. We can coast into the next checkpoint, and we did. Pretty sophisticated stuff, honestly, for being a early NES racing game. Like, I'm obviously not going to try and tell you that this is the apex of driving games on a home console. That would be an absurd statement. But, for what it is, given the technology at the time, this is well done. We'll see if it holds up after an hour of playing. So this is also one of those games, I believe it does hold a fairly... Dang, I gotta stop doing that. Holds a fairly respectable place in the history of the NES. I do regularly see Rad Racer brought up and mentioned. It's nice that they allow you to coast, but that was not nearly enough time. So yes, we kind of regressed there. We had a big regression in that run. Obviously the biggest issue with these 16-bit, 32-bit even racing games is that you don't really get a great sense of course design because of the fact that there's no actual 3D world around you. It really just, you know, you get the turns and all that, but the turns seldom really feel like they're tangible, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, skidding on the side is okay. You just don't wanna crash into a tree. That's what'll end your entire life, your entire career. The music started and stopped. So yes, I almost have to. We barely missed that one. I almost have to believe that the music is more of a scripted event, which is a little odd, but okay. Just gotta get used to recognizing when those signs telling you, hey, bud, you gotta turn are coming up. Because those are looking to be very vital in terms of surviving! Alright, well, we just kind of got, you know, yoinked right off the side of the track there. Probably more my fault than anything else. I'll be the first person to admit that. It's good to be back, though. Good to be playing Rad Racer. And I mean that sincerely. A welcome back 1-2 punch of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Rad Racer. Good way to get it going. Which is good, because once we wrap up October 1987, November of the same year is honestly looking to be pretty pathetic. So you'll get to look forward to some real trash cans coming up, more than likely. Who knows, maybe I'll play some of these games that have terrible reputations and I'll wind up saying, hey, that wasn't so bad. I've done it before. I try to be incredibly optimistic about gaming, whether it's modern or old school, but just because I genuinely love it. And I'm not trying to gatekeep and be like, I like gaming way more than all these other people who criticize things. No. Criticism has its place, and nothing's above criticism. But I feel like way too often, especially on the internet, the negative of something tends to get exaggerated. And you hear way more of the negative than you do the positive. And I'd like to kind of not go that direction. Okay, yeah, so I think the music depends on how fast you're going. But yeah, there are plenty of people, they might have a channel, and they play a game like Rad Racer, a very solid game like this, and they could find a way to just, like, kind of complain the entire video. I see it too often, and I'm not trying to drag on other content creators, of course, which is, you know, why I'm not naming any names, duh, but I think it's far too common of a thing to where people enjoy rage so much, and they enjoy seeing things get ripped to shreds, and there is a market for that, of course. I mean, come on, look at... Oh, we made it! Nice! I mean, look at the Angry Video Game Nerd, you know, he made an entire career off of Dragon games, and it was effective, he did it well. But I don't know, I like to be a little more idealistic about things. Oh, nice. A night motif. That's actually very nice looking. That's some solid art that we got there. Yeah, it is art. Can't change my mind. Though, okay, 3 wide. That was a little brutal. We didn't make it out. We did flip our car. It's okay, though. We flipped our car again, as I figured would happen. You know, it takes a couple runs. I shouldn't have gotten so overzealous with the acceleration there. Yes, as I was saying, I like to highlight the good about games, because honestly, as a kid, video games may as well have been magic. And even as an adult, sometimes it still feels like that. Sometimes I still sit down with a game and I still think this is kind of remarkable that such a medium can even exist in the first place. Didn't get far at all. That's okay. We don't expect to beat these courses on the first try. Oh no! Alright, well that's bad news. When I said nothing is above criticism, it seems a little draconian to give you a one-and-done chance. I'm not going to let that ruin my perception of Rad Racer, though. That's a very regular NES thing, to just kind of give you absolutely no chance of accomplishing anything. So I suppose probably be prepared to watch this track several times. Track, course, whatever verbiage you want to use. I'd almost considered picking up Dirt 5 for my Series X when I got that, but I ordered everything from Target because I get a discount there, and I decided, since Target did actually not carry Dirt 5 at launch, I instead picked up Watch Dogs Legion, which is kind of a goofy thing for me to pick up because I haven't played the first 2 Watch Dogs games, so I picked those up too. So one of these days I'll just, you know, go on a Watch Dogs binge. I've heard mixed things about them. I've heard some people say, oh yeah, they're plenty fun, they're fine. If you like X games, you'll like this. And then I hear other people say, oh, Watch Dogs is garbage. I'm like, wow. I tend to not listen to, like, absurdly negative things like that. Like, it's a lot of hyperbole, right? If someone says X game is the worst I've ever played, chances are, if you play it, it'll be absolutely fine. It'll have issues, but I mean, let's just face it, people need to experience worse things. If Watch Dogs is the worst thing you've ever played, I don't know if you've played that many bad games. I say this again, having said I haven't played it, but I just get the feeling that on paper, there's nothing that could make the game that awful. Not when games like Ride to Hell Retribution exist, or games like The Karate Kid for the NES. Uh-oh, foreshadowing. Like, there are some truly foul games that it's very hard to defend. And I would certainly probably not call a game like Watch Dogs that. Who knows, maybe I'll play it and I'll hate it, and then I'll be eating my words, but I sincerely doubt that. I can pretty easily find something to enjoy about just about anything I wind up playing. Obviously, some games I will enjoy far more than others. Sometimes I'll play a game and I'll say it's okay, but I'm really not having a great time trying to finish this. But there's a difference there, you know? Wish I didn't wipe out there. You know, that was looking like a clean run until that wipeout. Just gotta learn how to drift this thing a little better, you know? It ain't no 8.6, that's for sure. Alright. We even had some time left. We didn't have to coast through the finish line, so that's great. Alright, San Francisco, what you got for me? Let's try this again. Let's see if we can make it a little further. We should be able to, you know, given the general law of, hey, you should do better every time you attempt something. Anyhow. Not much else to say. Nothing, no big updates since the Punch-Out episode. You know, obviously I'll be I'll be playing Assassin's Creed for quite some time because it's an absolutely gargantuan game. I'm like 34 hours in or something like that, and not even close to being done with it. My completion percentage still looks downright tiny. Not for lack of trying, you know. It's just a real big game. Hey, there we go. The coasting did it for us that time. Ah, there's a lot of cars now. Okay. Getting through those triple wides is kind of tricky. I have yet to do it particularly clean. Ooh, I nearly ate it right there. It plays well. Rad Racer plays very well. Once I, understood that, hey, you kind of got to drift those corners, I don't feel like there's anything really unfair about this game, which is honestly all I can ask for in an NES game, because they do not all evoke that feeling. Needless to say, we've watched enough episodes of this show. We're going to have far, far worse examples of that, but while we got these games that just let a good player be good, we hold these dear to our heart and we enjoy the heck out of them. Yeah. There you go. Hammer that brake. Drift. And there you go. Yes, I have watched every episode of Initial D. Thanks for checking up on me. And the movie, because if you don't watch the awkwardly placed movie in between the second and fourth seasons, you're going to be hopelessly lost. You may ask me, is Initial D worth watching? I would say, well, it depends entirely on how much you enjoy the concept of street racing. If cars or racing appeal to you, yeah, it's probably the best racing anime there is. But again, it is street racing. It's no swanky F1 anime here. It's down and dirty. Bring out your Corolla and go to town with it. Show the world your shredded up Evo Lancer and lose to a dude driving a junker. I mean, I pretty much just told you the entire plot of Initial D. I guess you don't have to watch it now, because that's basically what it is. It's just kind of rehashes of, oh, look, this guy has an insane car, and then the 8.6 just beats it handily every time. We killed the course that time. Look at that. That was excellent. Grand Canyon! Gotta be a little concerned about taking on the big old Grand Canyon itself here, right? It's okay, this game isn't in full 3D. We can't exactly drive off the edge of the Grand Canyon. We can't exactly run into a giant wall. Unless they surprise me, but I doubt they're gonna. The location that you find yourself in is purely an aesthetic difference, I would say. Okay. Some nice little S-curves there, nothing that you can't get across, and we should be on a decent amount of straightaway if I'm remembering the track preview properly. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Checkpoint flags, they're a godsend. I used to think that checkpoint flags were absolute bullshit when I was a kid. I thought, whoa, why can't you just, let me continue racing? Why do I gotta go fast enough to make it through the checkpoint flags? And now as an adult, I'm like, well, obviously because the point of racing is to go fast, and if you can't even make it through the checkpoint, there's a very low chance that you would have beat the race anyway. Although, it is certainly an outdated mechanic that you don't really see all that often anymore. Not a whole lot of games are adhering to the whole time between checkpoint theory. It's just because simulation racers are so much more in vogue right now. We wiped out, but we wiped out directly through the checkpoint. So we're going to hope that this course will allow for at least one wipe. You start to get two wipes, and it becomes a little more questionable. Although a good portion of that depends on when those wipeouts are. You wipe out twice in the same checkpoint stretch, it's going to be worse for you than if you wipe out once at the beginning and once at the end. It's just basic economics, or basic thugonomics for all you John Cena fans. And let's be real, who is not a John Cena fan? What a guy! Went from being one of the most bland and reviled wrestlers in the WWE to being beloved by pretty much everybody because he's just such an upstanding guy. Didn't know if I wanted to say outstanding or upstanding. I don't really know if there's an honest difference, to be real with you. You'd think I would. English is my first language, but come on, we got a lot of words. Beautiful. Another checkpoint survived. I'm getting my grip with Rad Racer, I think. I'm feeling it. Oh no, the cactus. Okay, but again, that was a second wipe, but it happened after we got past the checkpoint flag, so we should at least be moderately safe. Yeah, don't turbo through that turn. You'd think you would have learned your lesson by now. Yep. Okay, the music is definitely related to speed. You want to hear the sweet jams, you gotta go fast. Just like in real life. If you're not hitting at least, like, 150, turn your Bluetooth off, man. No music for you. You don't get to listen to Kickstart My Heart unless you're going at least double the speed limit. The ruins of Athens. Look at all these places you get to drive. Oh, look at those curves at the start there. This is going to be juicy. Decent variety in the course design, honestly, for how much I said, oh, you can't really tell the difference in courses. I think the aesthetics do help, and as I get a better grip on the game, I can also, like, feel the S-curves and stuff like that a little bit better. The more you come to a mutual understanding with the game, the more you get out of it. Which is a tale as old as time, of course. Chances are, if you understand the basics of the game that you're playing, you will have a better time with it. And more of it will make sense to you. I know, learn the basic rules of Mahjong, and all of a sudden it's not just a nonsense game about arbitrarily setting down tiles. Never was. Okay. Crashed right at the checkpoint. Lost a lot of time there. That was a gnarly crash. Wish I wouldn't have. But we'll hope that we continue well on our way here. I had to look away from my computer for a brief second, and that's what happens. Keep your eyes on the road, turns out. That's a valuable lesson to keep in your back pocket. Can we still coast through a checkpoint with having 2 crashes in this section? I don't harbor a lot of hope, but crazier things have happened. We had a lot of yeah, okay, we were fine. I was gonna say we had enough speed to where the coast could have gotten us a reasonable distance, and it did get us a reasonable distance. Oh, come on. I did brake. I did slow down, but rear-ending that car completely put me off course. Now, I could blame him and claim that he shoved me, but, that's not going to hold up in a court of law. It's very obvious that I kind of sent him directly into his back. He came out fine, of course. This was the last time I got in a car accident. I was in the middle of the accident zone. There was a dude who was not... Well, I don't know what he was doing, but I can only assume he was not watching the road properly. We were heading into a major city. Not awful, actually. Not awful. Wow, we were so close to a checkpoint. Game over. Ah, back to Sunset Coast Line. I can't believe it. Okay. But yeah, we were on some kind of windy roads going into the city. not during like rush hour, but close enough to where, you know, people were busy, people were doing things. It was a fairly busy highway, and there was one of those super treacherous turns where everybody just like slows down, not for no reason, but you know, you just don't see it coming unless you're paying very close attention to the road. And so I made my turn, girl in front of me made her turn, we both slowed down, and then all of a sudden I just feel myself run into the girl in front of me. But I didn't run into her. Somebody else ran into me at such a velocity, such an outstanding speed, that they shoved me directly into her back. Her car looked virtually untouched. Mine, very mild damage to the back, blew out one of my license plate lights, and that's about it. His car, dripping oil all over the ground, completely smashed up front. He was able to drive it up to a curb where we could get a state patrol guy out there to wrangle us, but he was in tough shape. So yeah, if you want to rear-end someone, go for it. Chances are you'll be in way worse condition. Probably don't go for it. That's not exactly the lesson that I'm trying to give you here, but I thought it would make for a good punchline. But now I don't need any angry mother saying, hey, my 15-year-old child with his driver's permit watches your channel every day, and he said that you said to just send people. I'll say, do you have a problem with that, lady? Come on. We can make it. Yeah, I knew we could make it. You think one little bail is gonna stop me from making it to my checkpoint? I don't think so. Sincerely doubt that, man. Oh no! Did you see that? That was one of the worst accidents that you would ever see in your life. Again, I just nicked the back end of that car, and it just completely yeeted me out of control off the road. Gosh, if I fail on course 1 here, before I can even get back to the other courses, I'm gonna feel like a bit of a chump. We should be good though, right? Should be enough coasting power. Come on, checkpoint flags. Yay! There we go. Again, 1 wipe per checkpoint. I think that's the equilibrium that you gotta hit. Although I'd love to, you know, not push my luck with that. That would be ideal. It's still a fun game. Like, I'm actually having a legitimately wonderful time with Rad Racer. You know, can we salvage it? Probably not, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. If you did have to be stuck with just one racing game for your brand spanking new Nintendo Entertainment System back in '87, you could do worse than this, that's for sure. I mean, you could maybe put in the argument that... Yeah, no, we didn't make it. That's embarrassing. You could potentially put in the argument that Mach Rider was the first racing game. Ah, it's so close. But no. Mach Rider was more of a vehicular combat game, I think. Well, unless you were doing the endurance mode, then I don't know. There's arguments to be made for just about anything. Alright, let's not get so complacent with this one. We are not good enough at this course, or this game in general, to think we can just, like, not look at the screen, not put in any effort, and expect to beat the course. Don't get so full of yourself, man. I've also been considering a new channel name. Because I like the name of the show. I like the 60 seconds to lose motif, but 60 minutes to lose idea. But I'm thinking maybe just make that like the title for this specific show. That way, if I want to do other content, I potentially could. And then it wouldn't just, you know, completely be a mismatch with the name and the rest of the theme. As it is, the name of the channel kind of locks me into doing this one specific thing. I guess you could use the same argument for Achievement Hunter. It's like, oh yeah, they hunted for achievements, and now they don't do any of that. And it's just a name, I suppose. I suppose that's a compelling argument that you've made, myself. But at the same time, you know, Achievement Hunter became kind of an iconic name. 60 Minutes to Lose is iconic amidst absolutely nobody. That said, tell your friends. Because, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm always like, hey guys, you ever watch this dude on YouTube? It's kind of funny how seldom people actually tend to recommend YouTubers to each other. Like, you just kind of know who YouTubers are generally. Like everybody knows who Markiplier is. You don't really recommend Markiplier because everyone just, it's like, you either know him or you don't, you know? I shouldn't say that because there are a few YouTubers that I tend to regularly recommend. Northern Lion, Jeremy Parrish, two of my absolute favorites. GameSack, another favorite. So I guess I shouldn't say nobody recommends YouTubers, because I recommend YouTubers, you know? It's just, hard to do in an organic conversation without sounding like a complete shill. And I'm sorry, but no, I cannot pay any of you for your services. To anybody who has continued watching, even in the midst of my self-imposed exile, I appreciate you deeply. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything. Alright. That's the first bail this whole time, and that's the end right there anyway. We almost made that a perfectly clean run on the first one, but no, I had to mess it up at the last minute there. Remember, this is inner city driving now. Traffic's going to be a little more nuts. Although if this was what San Francisco traffic was actually like, man, there'd be a lot of very happy people out there. Alright. I always have people being like, why don't you move to California? You'd fit in well there. And I'm like, because I like having money? I got no issues with California. I know some people who, for some reason, perceive California as this big boogeyman that is single-handedly ruining the entire country, and I think those people are, quite frankly, goofballs. That's to put it as absolutely kindly as possible. But, would I live there? With how expensive it is? Nah, dude. I enjoy being in a relatively affordable-to-live-in state, that being, you know, the quote-unquote great, I think, state of Minnesota. Minnesota's got its issues, but it's certainly got its plus sides too. Minnesota's biggest con? Long, miserable winters. It's very cold, and it stays cold for a long time. You'd think that me being born and raised in Minnesota, I would have some kind of affinity for that, but no, I was just kind of born hating it, and then I continue hating it into my adulthood. I have no love for the miserable cold. The snow, that's just gravy on top of what makes it all so detestable. It may look nice in a movie, may look beautiful in a video game, but once you gotta start dealing with it covering your driveway, and then you realize that you gotta blow your driveway off with a big old snow blower, like, just picture a world where you have to buy a specialized piece of hardware that is only useful for one season out of the year, because it does only one thing. It's called a lawnmower. No. There are plenty of places in the continental U.S. where a lawnmower is good for all 4 seasons. Minnesota ain't one of them. No. You need a lawnmower and a snowblower. Not like you're going to be blowing all the snow off your entire yard. That would be, quite frankly, insane. don't think I've ever actually seen anybody try that. I would not be surprised if there was somebody like that out there, because people are batshit sometimes. Should have turned there. Got so caught up on my snowblower rant there. Again, pay attention to the road in front of you, man. You'll die if you don't. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get a hand-me-down snowblower, so that was a nice several $100s that I didn't have to spend. On the low end, you can be prepared to pay quadruple digits for one of those bad boys. So it's always better if you know someone who has an old snowblower and then they upgrade it, because chances are their old one does just fine anyway. I know mine does. It ain't new. It ain't fancy. And it's a gas-guzzling piece of garbage, but it functions. And functioning is all I ask for. Alright, back in the Grand Canyon. I recall this one being remarkably easy. We'll see if that continues on this second attempt. Just remember, keep your speed under control in the S-curves. That's your most vital mission. Make it through the S-curves, and the rest of it's a dream. Yeah, now enjoy some straightaway, even though, you know, you'll have triple wide cars again, completely blocking your way. What inconsiderate drivers this game has. I mean, I guess I'm probably plenty inconsiderate myself, you know, going upwards of 240 kpm down the highways of our beautiful country of America here. Interesting that this is a Japanese developed game but takes place entirely in America. Wouldn't be the first time. Look at Fighting Baseball and all of its American names. Mike Truck, Bobson Dugnut, Sleeve McDykel. I would have loved to not crash and burn there. But as long as I don't make a habit out of it. No! Look at that! Now that guy! It's probably still my fault, but I'm gonna blame him anyway. I would love to not completely eat it on the Grand Canyon, please, if that's at all possible. I think we ate it on the Grand Canyon. Oh no. See, that's just karma right there. I came into this saying, Grand Canyon's easy. It's for babies. Oh, we're so close to the checkpoint too. Ooh, there's a 3D mode. I just accidentally found that out. That looks real goofy in 30 frames per second. I gotta tell you. I'm playing it in 60, but it's rendering an XSplit in 30 because I don't trust my processor. It's kind of a bottleneck. You really cannot change the course, can you? No, you're just stuck going back to the beginning. That is pretty rough. I'll forgive it, because it's a fun game. It's still a little rough. I mean, what else was really competing with Rad Racer? Monaco Grand Prix? Oh no, Monaco Grand Prix, you know. Didn't really become notable until Super Monaco Grand Prix, as far as I'm concerned, when it took that more faux 3D approach. Or maybe Super Monaco was actual 3D, I don't remember. It's been a bit. Been on a bit of a Sega history kick lately. I know I'm doing an NES series here, but I've been introduced to way more Sega games than I ever knew existed. Obviously, you know, you got your classics everyone knows. Everyone knows Sonic the Hedgehog. Everyone knows Space Harrier. I have yet to play Space Harrier, but every time I look at footage of it, I think that game looks more exhausting than fun. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe it's an absolute blast once you've got the controls in your hand, but I don't know. Every time I've just seen footage of Space Harrier, I think that looks like work. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying that looks like a poorly designed game. It's just, you know, it's just a very busy game with a very how do I put this, abstract perspective. Why am I talking about Space Harrier in a video about Rad Racer? I don't know, man. There's not a lot to talk about right now, you know. I've said my piece about Rad Racer. Perfectly acceptable pixel art, solid drifting mechanics, course design that remains fair yet challenging. What else is there to say? Probably not gonna see people clamoring for a Rad Racer revival. Not when there's so many other different types of racing games out there that exist that probably do the sport more justice than this. But again, we're looking at all these games within the context of when they came out. And in the context of 1987, excellent stuff here. Yeah, that's right, just wait till we get to Days of Thunder with graphics that'll put this to shame. Days of Thunder was actually a very good looking game for the NES, but I don't know if it plays any good. I've only ever seen footage of it, and footage does not tell you the full story. I've seen some games that looked really, really fun to watch, and then I try playing them, I'm like, dang man, that's kind of a bummer. Again, not even meaning that they're necessarily bad, just not entirely what one expected. Look at that, 12 seconds left on the clock. How's that for, you know, some bonus points? Probably still not as good as the one time that we did a completely clean run of that course, but, you know. Time has been flying, though. 40 minutes in, and I haven't even been glancing at the clock every 5 minutes. Sometimes you get games like that. Yeah. Watch your speed. Watch your speed on that corner, buddy. Okay. Checkpoint makes me feel good. Gives me a little bit of cushion, you know? I'm learning to lay off the turbo if you have even the slightest amount of the slightest amount of doubt in where you're gonna be going here. If I feel like, oh, it's been a while since there's been a major turn, I should slow down. See, now that's the kind of crash that you don't feel good about. Yeah, there are some. I mean, you never feel good about a crash, but there are some where you feel a little more like, oh, okay, the way I was playing, I couldn't have avoided that anyway. Obviously, any crash you can avoid, but I'm talking long term here. You know, you're like, okay, the way that I encountered that corner, the way that I approached it, the crash was going to happen one way or another. Jeez, like that one. I was going into that way too fast. The end result was pretty much a guaranteed crash. Oh no, we're not even gonna make it. We're not even gonna make it. Oh. Don't even see the sprite for the flag. Ah, but again, so close. It hurts, you know. It's like pretty much every time you do fail a course, it's pretty much always like right before a checkpoint. Unless you're just playing incredibly awfully like my first attempt. You know when I said that you want to get better every time you attempt it? Turns out that's for chumps. No, you actually just want to completely send it every single time and then observe as you fail to achieve any kind of desirable results, and then question why. You're like, wow, I was only holding A and doing nothing else. Why did I fail? I see that often with some video game enjoyers. They'll just kind of do something blatantly, obviously counterproductive to achieving their goal, and then they'll be like, wow, why didn't that work? It's like, Man, I don't know if you lack self-awareness or critical thinking, but you're gonna need to get a little more of either one to acknowledge that what you're doing just ain't working. Oh, okay. That poppin' was a little spooky. A 3-car wide immediate pop-in thanks to that incline. It is a satisfying crash, though. The car just goes flipping and spinning around, dive bombing the entire world. I wonder if this game has a continue code. I know a lot of NES games do. And then a lot of them you think they do until you actually try it, and it turns out that someone just made up a completely fraudulent code, and you say, wow, thanks a lot. I was just looking for some help to get through this game here. Now, of course, with the miracle of emulation and save states, anybody can beat any game. But I like to beat my games on their original hardware, and it makes things like this a little difficult. Obviously, I'm not playing on original hardware right here. This is very clearly emulated. As I have, again, a top-loading NES that does not have an AV output, meaning traditional capture is bunk. I could get it modded, of course, but honestly, I got other things I gotta spend my resources on. Still need to get myself a PC engine, a Japanese Saturn. Maybe the only two consoles where I would say you're most definitely better off buying the Japanese region version. It helps that Japan is also NTSC, so you don't really need any kind of converters for that. And the Saturn and PC Engine libraries are just so much better in Japan. But I can't read Japanese. Oh, it's fine. Just don't read. Problem solved. I've actually been keeping my eye on the Analog TurboGrafx 16. The company Analog, they make a lot of kind of I don't know if I should say repro is the right word, but I'm gonna use it for lack of a better term right now. Kind of like repro consoles for harder to find systems, like the Analog handheld, which plays like Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Game Gear, and Lynx games. Absolutely insane. I don't have one because they sold out and they're very expensive secondhand. But they're making like kind of a re-release TurboGrafx 16 with native support for all regions, CD and HuCard. Which honestly, I'm typically a snob about having the original hardware. But for how much of a pain it is to get a completely region-free TurboGrafx 16 setup, I'm thinking that there's something to that. Of course, I think in the end, buying a Japanese PC Duo would still cover most everything that you need, provided you were only buying Japanese, and would be much cheaper. I don't know. It's one of those things that I gotta think on. Some of those, like, recreated consoles, like, I saw one, it was like a recreated Genesis or something like that, and I was like, okay, that's cool and all, but Genesis consoles are pretty cheap secondhand as it is. Like, it just doesn't seem necessary, you know? I get it more for the TurboGrafx, because that thing, it did not get any love in the US. None at all. PC Engine's, of course, a little more common. In case you are completely lost on what I'm saying, PC Engine is the Japanese name for the TurboGrafx 16. TurboGrafx 16 was what it was referred to as here in Burgerland. Oh gosh, I'm gonna wipe out here, aren't I? I'm gonna completely fail this course again. Yeah, my second attempt at this game was real good. I was focused, but now, you know, now I'm just such a chatty Cathy. I'm so busy talking at you. No. Makes you sad, right? You hate to see it. But it's alright, we're just here all enjoying a nice game of Rad Racer together. Unless you're screaming at your monitor or preferred viewing device saying, "What are you doing? My 5-year-old cousin could play better than you." I'd say, it's possible. I'm not going to rule that out. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, those console recreations. I don't quite get the appeal of the ones that are already easy to get a hold of. Like, a used Genesis, they're pretty cheap. I got mine for like 30 bucks with all the hookups and everything. Oh, you press down on the D-pad to change the music. That's how that works. Wow, it took me this long to find that out. What a strange thing to do. Wow! See, this is why I play an hour of these games. I know, a 60-minute video, that's kind of a lot to get through. And it's a bit of a time commitment on my side, too, you know. You think, how much can you really get out of an hour? But look at that, it took me almost a full hour just to figure out you push down on the D-pad to change the music. Outrageous. Wow. That's so odd. That is so odd. I guess I just accidentally hit down a couple times. Wow. I guess with those repro consoles, I think the biggest thing is people want one that's like freshly modded for HDMI. I guess there's some appeal to that. But I mean, I got a big old CRT that I use anyway. I don't need HDMI. Honestly, I'd run out of HDMI ports pretty dang quick if I tried to mod everything up to HD. That's my own problem, you know. I already have one... Disregard my sloppy play here, please. Yes, I already have one HDMI splitter. And that's full. Got one other HDMI port on the back of my TV, and that's full, so I'm full up! I had to completely retire the Xbox One when I put the Xbox Series X in. I just didn't have any more HDMI space, which is probably fine because, you know, it's not like the Xbox One really serves any more of a purpose now that the Series X is all hooked up. Series X plays all the Xbox One games anyway, and it does it better. So I'm not upset that it's been retired, but you know, at the same time, I'm not just going to toss it out either. I had some good memories with that Xbox. It's staying. Just won't necessarily be hooked up. They're gonna say, oh, but you could sell it and buy more games. I'm like, yeah, but, you know, I'm a sentimental kind of guy, you know? I'm a low-tier collector. I wanna keep a record of these things that I've owned. If he who dies with the most toys wins, well, then I want to make sure that I come up the victor. I know, now I'm just sounding like a miser. Alright, we get another shot at San Francisco Highway, at the very least. San Francisco Highway. It's, I definitely wouldn't call it the easiest of the courses. It's been kind of manhandling me a few times now. What do I call it? Manhandling. I don't know the etymology of the term. I mean, it's obviously not because you're handling a man, or else it would only be used in that context. Maybe it's some outdated thing. Oh, only a man will handle something like that. I have no clue. That's probably what it is. But it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Welcome to the nihilist section of the video, where I refuse to acknowledge the relevance or importance of literally anything. Oxygen, really not necessary. Water, optional. It has no purpose except to, you know, keep the human body alive and going. At least the cars, like, drive in a lane. Right? Like, at least we got that going for us here. Oh, this is looking like a promising run. I think acknowledging that the cars stay in their lane is, wow! Very much helpful in piecing together a successful race. Yes, I'm gonna call it a race, because you know what? It's called Rad Racer. It's very clear that it's racing, because they said so. All you gotta do is just believe what they tell you. It's not some kind of bizarre call to arms to disbelieve everything that people tell you, by the way. Make no mistake. I think a lot of people get real paranoid in terms of believing what experts say, and it kind of drives me nuts. They're all like, maybe they're just telling us so they can control you. I'm like, or maybe they're just telling you because, you know, it's nice to know that an excess of trans fats in your diet is not as healthy as, say, an excess of good old wholesome vegetables. You know, oh, but a professional dietitian said that, so you know, what's their ulterior motive? I don't know, man. You got me. They clearly work for Big Veggie. I know. Now I'm getting on one of those controversial topics again where people are going to be like, I believe that people shouldn't be trusted. And I'll say, all right, Gribble. Enjoy. If that's really what brings some major enhancements to your life, well, then I guess I can't rightly tell you to stop, I suppose. All right. Hey, look, that was it. We made it through, which means we should get one more crack at the Grand Canyon. And this is probably about all the time we'll have left, provided we make it through the entire course. Wish I could have gotten another crack at Athens, but you know, I played too sloppy, and that was purely my own fault. I was all like, oh, I made it through these other courses easily enough, so I don't have to really try for this one. Wrong. Effort is always necessary. The blue cars don't appear to strictly stay in their lanes. At least I don't believe they do. That could just be the awkward sprite tricks playing tricks on my eyes. Because yeah, once they go on further into the distance, it's a little difficult to tell exactly where they're camping out. This is extreme camping, by the way. Very fast-paced mobile camping, which is, I suppose one would say, the exact opposite of what camping is, but I would say, no, man. I control the English dialogue now. You have a question about vocab? Just ask me. I created it. Yeah. So, you know, this is a trap right there. Yeah. Oh, nope. Never mind. It wasn't a trap. I thought that was like, oh, but then if you go into the right lane, then you'll crash into that ugly tan car, and then you wish you would have gone into the other lane. No, I should have just followed my gut from the beginning. Oh, yeah, see that blue car? You switched lanes, which is actually a highly illegal maneuver in regular everyday driving. Switch lanes once, go to jail. Yes, of course I have a driver's license. Why do you ask? Ooh. We kept... Yeah, this is a nail biter, man. This is a nail biter. Just trying to keep it clean. Oh no! I got a little overexcited there. There's got to be one more. Yeah, okay, good. Last checkpoint. Now we get a whole 60 seconds to make it to the end of the Grand Canyon. got to be doable, right? Well, of course it's doable. It's just a matter of whether we actually do it properly. All right. Yeah. Get some spicy speed up in there like that. But not too much spicy speed, because or else you'll just wind up completely ruining your own race. There we go. Okay, and we beat the Grand Canyon again. And that was just about perfect timing too. Well, thank you so much. Would have been nice to get another crack at the ruins of Athens, but that is all the time that we have. Rad Racer. Yeah, honestly, an incredibly enjoyable game. Just very well made in every fashion. Never felt unfair. Every time that I messed up, I acknowledged fully that was me messing up. So that's pretty good stuff there. What do we got for you tomorrow? It's the last game that released in October of 1987. It is that classic by Compile. It's Xanac. So last time we saw Compile, it was with Lunar Pool, the last episode that I did before I vanished off the face of the planet. So, you know, I played Xanac. Probably a lot of you have played Xanac. If you haven't, tune in tomorrow to witness a full hour of some very old shoot-'em-up stuff. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.